son takes care of everything else.
Yeah.
He doesn't even have to think about it.
He changes the air filters,
What chores does he give you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I do
Does he
whatever he
give you?
leaves behind. I couldn't get to that, Dad. Why don't you knock that out for me?
Mom, keep Dad out of the way.
From fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, this is Pod Therapy. Real people, real problems, and real therapists. You can submit your questions anonymously at podtherapy.net or email us at podtherapyguys@gmail.com. And now, broadcasting from the hot, supple 19-year-old studio.
God damn it.
That's Jim. That's Whitney.
Wow.
What do you think,
I'm
Jim?
Nick.
You still in
It's
it?
time for some Pod
Is it
Therapy.
too late to cancel this?
Hey,
how many people have
here's
bought
the
it?
thing.
It is.
Can I undo this?
Buckle in, buddy, because
Oh,
we
no.
got like a month of this.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
This was
Hot,
not the
supple
only
19-year-old.
hot, supple
Oh, fuck.
submission. I have
Your
never
father's dick has
regretted
been
an
in me.
idea more in my life
Oh, no.
In my mouth.
Oh, Jesus
than this.
Christ. Oh,
Then-
it's coming. All right.
Why do you regret it,
Patreon.com.
Nick?
I don't think about the consequences of things that I say.
I don't remember saying it.
I don't remember you saying
Right?
that, I'm going to be honest.
I think it was
Honestly?
my idea, but then Jim took it and ran with it.
I feel like AI generated.
That's right. That's right. I've been fucking spoofed.
Oh, AI drops. AI
Oh,
Jim
no.
drops.
We don't want to open that Pandora's box.
Only
The
in
fastest way to
Patreon.
scare Jim away from Pod Therapy is you start fucking around with
Yeah,
making
don't
AI
do
Jim.
it, but it's funny
I
to
will
think
have
about.
a panic attack. Do not do that. Patreon.com/therapy. You can hear all about Nick's landscaping adventure where, that was exciting. That was actually quite the tale, and I enjoyed
Largest
that.
African sumac I've
And you
ever
can hear
seen.
about my aesthetic adventure as I peep at my beautiful nails. Jim's looking pretty, so come check that out. Patreon.com/therapy.
Also, where you could purchase the episode title or the naming of the studio.
Yeah,
And
do
I
it
just
before I get in there and
wanna-
fucking shut it down because
I
it's,
want to emphasize.
not let
It's
this thing
coming.
go
I want
much
to emphasize this. As soon as I say what this studio is, I want to emphasize this is not me saying this.
Yeah, no.
This was a writer who
Yes.
entered-
Paid money to have that
paid
set.
money
Yes.
to name the studio.
They've sponsored the studio for the day.
Okay, that just
Coming
'cause
to you
if
live
this is
from Jim's gaping asshole. This is Pod Therapy.
I want to emphasize that in case this is anybody's first episode.
Oh yeah, we need to sometimes
Yes.
assume
This is-
that
yeah.
is a thing.
Yeah.
Actually, sorry everyone. I'm just gonna redo this one. Coming to you, live from Jim's gaping asshole.
That was good. I had a
nice.
visual with that one.
Yes, indeed, it was gaping. Patreon.com/therapy. We have a huge library of deep dives, skill shares, research explanations, all sorts of really cool stuff. There is a new segment that's going to be coming out that's a little bit more news and current events related. That's going to be dropping the Monday after you hear today's episode. And it's going to be on a situation that's going on in the Supreme Court of the United States right now where conversion therapy, which is sort of that, pray the gay away, fix, gender and sexual identity stuff, is being discussed in Supreme Court. And so it has huge implications
I can't believe
in every
that's
possible
back.
direction.
A good time to go back and rewatch the movie But I'm a Cheerleader.
Aha.
Go back, find yourself a movie. I think it's from the early 2000s. It's called But I'm a Cheerleader, and it is about this.
Oh, wow.
I've never heard of
It
it.
is
I've never heard
about
of it either.
a high school cheerleader being sent to Pray
like
the
a-
Gay Away camp.
Yeah. So this, it's incredible.
And they do it in a. It's not exactly funny. I mean, there are comedic parts to it,
Sure.
but it's also dealing with a serious topic,
Right.
but
I remember
they
this
do a
movie.
good job of exploring the confusion
Okay.
that people feel. In the you're telling me to change something that I don't know how to change.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
I didn't make this decision in the first place,
I
and you're
didn't know
telling me
there
to
was a movie
change my
about that.
mind, and I don't understand what you mean.
That's cool that there's a good movie
It's
about
it's
that.
good. Yeah.
So the deep dive is I think really, really timely. We get into the Supreme Court case and explain kind of the odds and ends of it. We get into what is conversion therapy. We go through the history of conversion therapy in America and when the bans started erupting and what the consequences of those bans were, which you'd think on its face good, but they had a lot of unintended consequences, and that's what's bringing this back to the Supreme Court. And so if you get into the deep dive, it really is interesting because you'd think that the obvious answer to this is no, just keep the bans in place. That's a good thing. But the bans have had huge, enormous bad consequences on pediatric mental health care.
Right.
And have fiddled with all sorts of things. So getting into the weeds of this, it is really, really interesting stuff. It's very nuanced. It's very complex. And it's, I think, a really timely deep dive. So check it out, patreon.com/therapy. It will air the following Monday.
It's so maddening that the idea that the courts and legal people are trying to make more and more laws and rules governing this.
Right.
When it seems clear to people who are in and around it that
Right.
the answer is less rules.
Right.
The answer is less government dealing with this because it's never, or virtually never, a one solution fits all type scenario.
Yeah, and that was exactly the backlash because, healthcare already self-regulates.
Yeah.
It is inclined to do only what is best practices and evidence-based, and it is accountable when it causes harm, and we already have that system built.
Right.
But when state legislatures get in there and ask to, stamp little micro-regulations in on healthcare disciplines, you create all sorts of unintended
You make
consequences.
waves.
Yeah, and you also open up the door to, okay, so if one party can do that, the other party can do
Of course.
that. Now, they can create bans, like no woke therapy.
Right.
And we're like, what's that? Whatever the fuck they decide it is, whenever they write it down. So lots of really nuanced things.
All of that
are
being
really
said,
interesting.
Band on the Run is still an excellent song.
Band on the Run.
Oh, never mind.
Okay.
You talked me out of it.
Ah, shit. We've got some great questions for today's show, and we are leading off the order today with Afraid of Roommate from College Gal. Hey, Jim. This letter is specifically for you because I am a 19-year-old female.
Wow.
Oh, God damn it.
She is a
And
hot,
it's
supple
not
19-year-old.
There it is. Jesus Christ. And it's not creepy at all to hear you talk about teenage girls.
She is a hot, supple 19-year-old.
How about now?
Why?
How does it make you
Why
feel?
does this
She is a
drop
hot, supple
exist?
19-year-old.
Fuck whoever found it. I have
Me?
Was it you?
Yes.
Oh, I thought it was a scoop.
Oh no! Other people brought it to me, but I had already pulled it. I already had, they were like, "Hey, we got the drop." I was like, "I already have it."
I
Dylan.
don't remember the context. I
What
just
was
remember
it?
you said it, and Jacob and I just looked at each other.
She is a hot, supple 19-year-old.
in pure silence, right? Because
Yeah,
you're
we're
like,
just
nobody
like-
say anything. Just let it get
it was,
all the
it was
drop.
more like a,
Like,
he just said that, right? Yep.
God damn it.
I'll tell you what we weren't talking about: 19-year-olds.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
I think it was a whiskey. I don't know what it was. It was a wine.
it was.
Anyway, back to the letter. I have a real problem that hopefully one of the other hosts can offer some decent advice on. I'm a sophomore in college, and I've been with my current boyfriend since my senior year of high school. He's a year behind me, but we share most of the same friends. He followed me to college, and now we're living together in the same dorm room, and I feel trapped. I know I made this choice, but things are starting to get awkward, and I don't know how to get away. I know that he's abusive to his mother. I've seen him yell at her and hit her, but he's never been that way to me until now. The other night, as we were moving around, I accidentally tapped him in the balls. He became immediately enraged, screaming about how much it hurt. I apologized and tried to comfort him, and I thought that was the end of it. Later, as we were getting ready for bed, he rammed his knee up my ass as hard as he could and said, "That's what it feels like, bitch." I don't feel safe, and now I don't know what to do, as I'm pretty sure the deadline for requesting a room switch has passed. He knows I'm not happy. I've physically moved our beds apart to opposite sides of the room, and he's started trying to smooth things over in what feels like attempts to gaslight me into believing things aren't as bad as they are. Remember when I said we share the same friends? Well, he's reached out to all of them already for advice, saying things like, she needs to understand that couples fight and we need to work through this if we're going to get married and have a mortgage and children. That's not what I signed up for at this age. Just yesterday, he actually did propose, and I told him no, and that I wanted to go to church to think and pray about everything that's happened. Once again, he got angry and said, we don't believe in that shit. We don't go to church. I feel like I have no one I can turn to since he's already talked to all of our friends, and I don't know what to do to diffuse things and get him away from me. I'll take any advice you've got for diffusing the situation and getting out ASAP. Thanks, college gal.
Oh my God.
Okay, who wants to take that first?
She is a
I have
hot,
thoughts.
supple
There
19-year-old.
we go.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
The visceral reaction listening to that. I feel
Yeah, Whitney
so...
was touching herself inappropriately.
Okay,
Yeah.
well,
Most
after
very
that,
visceral,
Jacob,
I
you weren't
thought.
supposed to share that part.
Very visceral. It's hot and supple.
God, you don't fucking learn.
No, but that was a comment on Whitney. That shouldn't count. Nobody wants that drop.
39-year-old.
Actually,
We've aged 20 years.
like, that's a comment on Whitney, so it shouldn't count. Is the drop that I want.
God damn it.
It's better now, right? No.
I can't believe colleges allow.
I know. Co-ed dorms?
Like,
Okay,
No, I
co-ed
mean, like,
dorms
co-ed
is a
dorms
thing,
is
Jen.
fine.
They allow
like
women
a
in college
co-ed
now? What the
dorm
fuck is
room.
going on?
Yeah, the
co-ed
living
around.
Okay,
They can't go to classes.
Oh, okay, good. But they let them sleep over. Yeah. All right, I'm fine with it. Never mind. I
Somebody's
retract
gotta
my
cook.
previous comment.
I did wonder about that. That seemed very odd that they will let them share a room.
Yeah.
I don't know about. I mean, so let's say
that's not that abnormal.
no.
Okay.
It's not.
Really?
No.
Oh. Going to a Christian college.
There are a lot of colleges that do this now.
But it seems like this is such a
Really?
predictable problem, and I could see the university
sure.
being like,
Especially when
"Look,
they have
we just
limits."
don't do that."
Yeah.
The potential for domestic violence or all sorts of weird stuff or allegation, like we just don't. Like you can have guests in your room or whatever. At least then you're making that choice. But I don't know. I agree with you. I feel like it's a little bit ill-informed.
Yeah. Well, let's
I don't
because
love
I
it,
don't
but
know
it's not that abnormal.
It's not that
for
okay.
colleges.
So it's all like through the college, you both are assigned to this dorm room. My first thought was if you go talk to someone at the housing. Yeah, I was gonna say register.
Right.
I don't know, like in the main housing department. I would say going to talk to them and telling them, hey, and if you're because sometimes you hear like. Victims of domestic violence not want to like make things a bigger deal than they are, or like it's kind of like feels like opening a can of worms. Like if I go tell
Right.
someone what are the consequences if they don't believe me and they still confront him, and now I'm still stuck in this room with him,
Right.
like after they've like talked to
You
him
made
or
it worse.
I just
Yeah.
imagine what I would be thinking in
Right.
this situation, I guess, when I'm sharing that. I mean, I get that there would probably be worries and concerns. But I think even if you approach it from maybe to start with a hypothetical situation with the housing department saying, hey, I know we're probably past the deadline of changing rooms, but if there were a situation where someone was scared of their roommate they were living with and
Right.
there was potential for like further harm, what are my options? Because I would bet money
Yeah.
there is a stipulation
Yep.
For sure.
regarding domestic violence.
And the
in
way
this.
Whitney just said it, I want you to pay attention to the way that she just said it. Don't start with I'm scared, I'm being abused. Don't start with any of that.
Yeah.
Really do start with what would the options be
Right. Hypothetical.
if
Yeah.
this were, if something like this were happening, if someone were scared for their safety because of their roommate,
Yeah.
what would their options be going through you?
Yeah.
And I say that only to say that like sometimes people's handling of these situations
I
is
wouldn't trust
stupid.
them. Yeah.
That's
Well,
it.
yeah.
That's it.
Here's the thing, too. There's no deadline for personal safety.
No.
Right.
So it doesn't matter what the housing deadline is.
No.
I think because
There are other things.
Here's
you
what I
can
would
do.
do.
Yeah.
In a situation like that. If I was going to go, I would explain, I don't feel safe.
Right.
Yeah.
What are you going to do about it?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Because from the university's perspective, if I'm saying I don't feel safe and you do nothing, then now whatever happens is on you.
I take
Right.
it one step further. I wouldn't say I don't feel safe. I would say I've been attacked. I've been physically attacked, and I am not safe.
I would
Yeah.
be
There-
willing to
I would take the
escalate
feeling
it.
out of it completely.
I would start with square one, your suggestion of let's start with a hypothetical. Hey, what are the options? And then if I wasn't getting good answers to that, then I would probably escalate it to what Nick just said. Okay, so this is not hypothetical. I do not feel safe with my roommate. I don't want to get into the details, but there has been an incident and I need, some kind of relief. Yeah. And if they still weren't responsive, then I would probably escalate it to what you just said. Okay, I'm going to describe the incident to you. There has been a physical, action that has taken place. But I would have a progressive strategy with that.
And hopefully you run into somebody that step one, they go, oh yeah, let's get you out of there.
What do we think about the nuance of a relationship in which this has never happened? We've been together for a while, and the context of boyfriend doing this is immature, but it's different than other kinds of forms of putting your hands on somebody. Like, it's super immature. It's him doing this reprisal thing. Like, you hurt me first, I'm hurting you back. None of this is justified. No. But contextually, do we feel that there's some nuance to this relationship writ large, the reaction to this incident, asking this person, because she's the writer, college gal, is entirely within her rights to just say, I just don't want to be with him anymore. We're done.
Yeah.
Right. Like, that was
she
it.
Is
That's
a hot,
my red
supple
line.
19-year-old.
There we go. As a hot, supple 19-year-old, I want her to have what she needs in life. One of you fucking talk. Like, you can't just let me be out there and just say things because then it's going to be a fucking drop. So I'm entirely on college gal's side that if college gal says, I am done with this, and I do not need to take this into consideration. I do not need to look at the nuance. I don't need to look at the situation. You overstepped, and we're done. I'm fine with that.
I am too, and I think this is an example of there are 3 or 4 different things going on in college gal's head.
Yeah,
and one of them, and I'm making an assumption here, but one of them is you said you've been with this guy since high school.
Right.
This might also be college gal's first big breakup.
Yeah,
that she has had to kind of facilitate in life. This might be the first big relationship breakup that she's doing in life. So that on top of all of these other things, it sounds to me a little bit like she's like, I genuinely just don't know what to do. Right. I haven't had to do this before, and now I'm having to do this under these circumstances, which is making this even worse.
God, that's so hard. A breakup's already really hard.
That's it. That's my point.
And now you've got to do this in a dorm room, which is the size of a closet.
Right.
And you've got to sit down with your boyfriend and be like, look, I don't want to be together anymore. I don't want to be with you. I'm looking for options to get out of here. But I don't want to tell you that up front because you've been violent at me, right?
Well,
I don't know what you're capable
and all of their
doing.
friends are intertwined, which I've worked with clients who struggle with that when they split from someone and the devastation that can be felt when your friend group that you've been close with for, I'd guess, at least 2 years.
Right.
They're maybe hearing his side of the story first. You're wondering if they're picking his side over yours, and you won't know that until you split. Really. Not that I want you to go around telling your business to your friends, but I do wonder when you say oh, he's gone to them and told them things already. Have you talked to them about what's going on? If any of my friends came to me and told me that, I'd be like, what the fuck? Fuck him.
Also,
no.
anything as you're asking about the nuance and everything of it. Honestly, I think that's what he's already doing.
Yeah.
In his head, he's like, well, I didn't hit her.
Right.
My knee, I did this thing with my knee.
Right.
But in his mind,
I didn't know it was that hard. I just thought I did it a little bit.
I didn't think it would hurt that much. And whatever. And he's going to say all of these stupid excuses that don't mean anything, that are just childish and stupid.
Right.
But that's what, so the justification, I think he's already doing the backflips to say well, I wasn't violent.
Right.
She hit me, and then
and if we asked him, he might say, "No, dude, she hit me in the nuts on purpose. It wasn't this accidental graze. So I'm pushing back on this. I was wounded, but I didn't, And
then he's taking that justification. He's saying that to the friends, and he's doing all these types of things. And part of what we're trying not to do, Ryder, is tell you too that in a few years, you're going to get away from this, and you're going to get away from these friends, and you're going to get away from college and the whole scenario, and none of it is going to matter.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the part that is going to matter later on is this relationship. And if you're scared in this relationship and you want to get out and you feel trapped in it, that's the part that's going to carry over years from now. The part where it's this person in my English class didn't understand what was going on and was a little rude to me about it.
Right.
You're just not going to give a shit.
And honestly, if your friends don't really understand this, then they're not going to be long-term friends anyway. You're gonna find new friends in a couple years.
Better to figure
And this
that out
happens
now.
all the time, where like your life circumstance change for one reason, you move away or whatever happens. You're always going to be making new friends. You're always going to be introducing yourself to new people. So don't. I realize that, you know, for you in this situation, it doesn't feel that way.
Right.
It feels like this is your support system. These people are obviously very important to you. However, I just want you to understand they're replaceable.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to find other friends. And you said that you've got, you talked about like going to church and talking to people there. That's a fine place.
That's a good option,
if that's
yeah.
where your support system is, go there. And, you know, and even just if you got a few people there that you can turn to and just say, hey, this is the situation I'm in this relationship. I need out and I need somebody to help me.
Yeah.
I'm sure they would be more than happy to help you.
Yeah.
And you'll find new friends if it comes down to that.
Like, I'll tell you, your boyfriend being mad when you said, I'm going to go to church because he says, you know, we don't believe in that.
Oh my God.
That's a weird thing
Yeah.
to give a shit about.
Yeah.
And I want you to know that I want you to know that's a weird thing to give a shit about from his point of view.
Yep.
I am my other podcast, godless is like the second word in the description of the podcast.
Right.
You know, if there is a proselytizing atheist out there, you know, it certainly could be argued that I am one.
Mm-hmm.
If my wife came to me today and said, "Hey, I'm going to go to church. I'm going to go to church and I'm going to hang out at church and I'm going to see what it's got going on," I'd be confused.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'd wonder where it came from.
You'd be curious because you care about her, but not
Right.
from a like.
I wouldn't be upset about it.
Yeah.
It wouldn't
Or
bother
judge
me.
her like in a
That's
way
it.
that's
Yeah,
like,
Right.
how
I
dare
would be
you?
confused. I'd have questions clearly, but it wouldn't be. What are you doing that for? That's
Right. We don't do that. That's not who we are.
Yeah,
Honestly,
and also the we don't
We
believe in
is
this. That's
weird.
weird. And come on,
college girl,
Controlling.
college gal, 3.5 out of the 4 atheists in this room all say that that's weird.
yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say when Peter and I first started dating, he was already on the path to like, you know, non-believer, but I was still in it. I was like, no, I'm still Christian, all this
fine.
stuff, and he was just like, okay, cool,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
no problems,
Whatever.
we're
So,
all good.
I want to jump in for a second because I want to. So I'm about to say a lot of things that are a lot of assumptions, and so what I'm about to say, college gal, I want to be very sensitive about because I'm about to get mean about your boyfriend.
Your father's dick has been in me.
That is a fact.
Oh.
So
Just replace him with boyfriend.
there you go. So there's a lot of clues here that I see in a lot of young insecure men. So when you're a young insecure boy and you have a girlfriend in high school and it's going really good, and then she's older than you, and then she gets out of high school first.
she
Fucking
leaves.
ice cold fear goes through your veins because it's like, oh my God, I have a girlfriend. She's in college among the college boys now. I'm this piece of shit little kid high schooler.
And he's
So you
right.
start to feel really insecure, and then you're really possessive and protective of her, right? So then she's out there, and you're
I
scared
think
she's
more
going to wise
possessive
up
too,
and
by the
leave.
way.
Yeah, very possessive.
Yeah.
Then it's like, oh, there's so much evidence in this story that this guy might be like that. Which again, not a shitty guy. He's just a kid, right? But like. This
He
is
might be
very
a shitty guy. We just don't know.
Might be a shitty kid.
Well,
like
he's
as
hurt his
an
mom.
almost
I'm like-
40-year-old man, if I saw an 18-year-old boy like this, I want to pull him aside and talk to him about insecurity. I want to talk about toxic masculinity because this is something that a lot of young men can slip into. But I see symptoms of that here, like even cohabitating in the dorm room. That seems like a step, and it seems like a step of I need to get her in my orbit.
Yeah.
I need to keep
Where
an
I
eye
can
on
watch
her.
her.
We're
Yeah.
together, and then like here we
Lock
are having
this
this
shit down.
conflict. I'm going to all of our friends, like, well, we're going to get married someday. We're going to be together forever, and like we're going to have
So
children
weird.
and a mortgage. And she's looking around, going, whoa, that's not where I'm at in this. But he's like extremely possessive and like using that as a control mechanism to be like, babe, you can't walk away from me over this silly little thing.
And
We have
using
this
a
huge
proposal
future
as a
together.
controlling mechanism.
Yeah, now he's
Yep.
proposing to you and being like, let's just get married. And then you're trying to go to church. It's like, we don't do that. That's not us. We're this. And it's
So
just
many
like
red
there's all
flags.
this effort to sort of like contain her and limit her options and signal the sense of bigness of like, this is real. This is huge. We're already, and it's like, motherfucker, you are 18 years old.
Yeah.
Like, coming from the evangelical tradition where I absolutely was inside of this kind of bullshit, and this person doesn't identify as
inside of?
religious. There you go. A lot of people. But like at that time, that insecurity as a young person bubbles up and it causes a lot of attempts to control the relationship, especially when there's a lot of factors to be intimidated by. Like you're this brand new college kid, your girlfriend's older than you. Like there's a natural intimidation. You get to college, you're this young guy. Everywhere you look, everybody else looks like a grown ass man. And like you're feeling inferior. And so just like all
full
this
mustaches.
Shit, yeah, right. Full mustache, full supple mustaches. So like, I just want to point that out, Ryder, that this, as I'm looking at these clues, weaponizing the marriage proposal, boycotting church, keeping you away from friends, telling all the friends you guys are going to get married and have a mortgage and have kids, and just like even living together, it all seems very controlling. It seems very insecure. It seems like grabby. Please don't leave. I need us to be real. And then putting a lot of pressure on you to sort of like, if you walk away from this, all of us are going to disagree with that. Like, oh my God, they all see us as a couple. I thought we were getting married. You've signaled that this is serious. You're weird if you walk away. And just like, look, I don't think he's some fucking evil mastermind. I think he's an 18-year-old fucking kid.
Yeah.
And I just think he's insecure and emotional and scared and inexperienced. And if I were in his life as a counselor, we would be talking through, hey, dude, why are you doing what you're doing? Like, this is the kind of shit that guys do whenever they're possessive and scared and insecure and trying to fucking, like, get their woman in a cage because they're scared she's going to get away. And it's like, I don't want you to do that at 18 years old. If this chick loses interest in you, and I think she needs to get out there and date her own people. You need to date your own people if that's what it comes down to. But you guys are acting like it's do or die, yes or no, right now.
Right.
And that kind of insecurity-driven relationship is really, really dangerous.
Now, can I just add to that? That yes, I would agree with 100% with everything Jim said. It seems like this boy is broken. There's some
he's going
shit
through
that
it.
Needs to be worked on. And it's not your job to fix it.
Not at all.
Nor is it uncommon for an 18-year-old guy to need to work on some shit.
Yes, exactly. I just don't want you to take any of this advice and just be like, oh, yeah, I do see these things that he needs to work on.
Point.
Maybe I can help him.
Nope.
Maybe I'll... No. I think...
Not your job.
Yeah, there's just a lot of red flags here that I think I think you're... I validate the way that you feel about this because if I was in that position, I'd probably feel the exact same way. And I would not let things like fear of losing friends or fear of being past the deadline to move out in any way inhibit you from exiting this situation.
Oh, and just, like whatever. I was going to say real talk, but that's not the right word for it. Just kind of practical talk.
Mm-hmm. With Jacob's pulling up a chair. He's going to
real talk. He has it backwards.
Yeah,
that's right. That's right.
Backwards.
Let me flip this hat around.
Let me rap with you. Fellow youth.
Practical talk. The college is a bureaucracy.
Yeah.
Whatever. Well, you didn't say what college you go to, if it's a big school or a little school or whatever. But whatever it is, it's some form of bureaucracy.
Right.
And if you take them a solution, you take them a problem and you take them a solution. For instance, if you have a friend that lives in a dorm by themselves, that you don't think you'd mind being roommates with that friend for a little while. If somebody has an apartment or whatever, there is no rule at your university that is going to force you to stay in that dorm room.
They're not going to fuck around with that.
They're simple. Oh, no. It doesn't matter if they whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
There is no rule that is confining you to that dorm room.
I see. You can still leave.
You can just fucking leave.
Yeah, you can just
go
leave.
stay with some friends.
Yeah.
Go crash. You're 19. This is the time. Who gives a shit?
Right.
You're going to crash on somebody's couch. You're hanging out in somebody's guest bedroom. You're splitting a dorm room with somebody else that you may or may not already know.
Right.
That's okay.
Yeah.
It seems scary. It seems like a big step. You're going to realize one day that it's not that big of a step.
It feels really unknown and confusing right now.
It feels big right now. After you do it, you're going to go like, oh, this wasn't just moving. Turns out isn't that big of a deal.
Yeah.
People move all the time.
Yeah.
And you're in a kind of a weird, kind of a transitional spot, honestly, in life, because you're going from, and that's part of the idea with college. You're going from living with your parents, presumably, to then living in a somewhat less controlled environment, but still a somewhat controlled environment in college dorms. And it feels like you have rules that are kind of governing what you have to do and telling you that you can't do things. Those aren't really real.
Yeah.
Those rules don't really exist.
I think I appreciate what all you shared, Jim. I don't think you're wrong either. I'm glad to hear college gal say that she'll take any advice for diffusing and getting out ASAP. That's like my favorite line in this whole letter, because piggybacking off what Jacob was saying, that's kind of where my mind went. Like, if I get that you feel stuck, and that is so real, because your whole reality is in that shoebox that Jim mentioned, like your college dorm room. But you can get out, whatever that means, and you are strong enough to do that. And I would recommend, I actually just watched a true crime show about a college girl who was murdered by her boyfriend, who was didn't live with her, but it goes through all these calls that like this girl made to college campus police and all these things. And I'm thinking about this here, not to say that your boyfriend's going to do that, but some things I took away from watching that is, one, that when you do decide to leave that dorm room, you can call your college campus police and they can just escort with you.
Yes.
Like they'll show up, they'll just stand there.
Yep.
And honestly, a lot of those calls, they were very willing to do that. And what stuck out to me the most is that the girl who was murdered, she, I think, felt very confused on how serious to take it, because this was somebody that she cared about. And I don't think any of us want to believe someone we cared about would hurt us worse.
Of course.
Or do something that extreme. It's like unfathomable to us.
Right.
But it's always okay to over worry in situations like these. And I don't mean to cause yourself anxiety and over worry, but it may feel like, oh, well, that's too much to do this. Or do I really need to go to the campus police to ask them this? Just do it. Yeah. You know, it'll protect you. It takes that onus of diffusing the situation off of you, and that is on them.
And I think it also gives an important reality check sometimes to the other person, that they realize, oh, nobody's going to put me in cuffs right now. Nope. These guys aren't mad dogging me. They're being professional. Mm-hmm. But there's clearly accountability happening all around me. And so I can keep shouting from the rooftops, this was no big deal. Mm-hmm. But the system is helping me understand that this was a big deal. And these are new adults. Mm-hmm. When you're in high school, it's like, oh yeah, there's almost no consequences for hitting your friend or doing something like that. And it's like, nope, you're over 18 now. That's assault. You go to prison. Like, all it takes is this kind of thing. So this is an important life lesson for everybody.
You didn't mention your parents here either. And maybe that's because they're not super involved in your life. Yeah. So if they're not, then just ignore this. Or
they might be on the other side of the country. Or
they might be far. But if you are able to kind of loop in one or both of your parents, or an older adult you trust who's not, a hot, supple 19-year-old, then I think this would be a good time to reach out and just ask for input or advice. Because sometimes I think we assume like older adults don't understand, or they're like too far removed from these situations. But I don't know, you're writing into us, so maybe not. But yeah, see if there's someone you can reach out to.
And you didn't say this, but maybe you're thinking this, I don't know. If you're thinking that this is a relationship that you would like to save, moving out and taking a little break from it
might help.
Oh, distances.
Yeah. Like, even if that's kind of your ultimate goal, even if you didn't want to say that out loud to us, which is fine. Who cares? This does not have to be anything that you don't want it to be. It can just be I need to move out. I need to establish the way that I want to live as an adult, because that's what you're figuring out right now.
I mean, I have a kid almost this person's age, and like, look, if I'm your father, I'm looking at this and going, I think you fucking kids have been attached at the hip this whole goddamn time anyway. Moving in together right out of high school, going to college together, going to classes together. This young man is like constantly latched to you.
Jim, who was married at 19.
And now he's fucking proposing to you out of panic. If you're my daughter, I'm like, I want you to get the fuck away from him for a while.
Oh yeah.
I'm not telling you to break up with his ass, but you guys need some breathing distance. I want you to learn how to fucking adult for a second, and I want you to go to some classes alone. I want you to have your own friendship circle. I want you to have a little bit of space. Go to church if that's what you want to do. Create your own little bubble. And if your little insecure fucking boyfriend can't handle it, then I think it's time for you guys to take a break.
Yeah.
And I realize, Dad, you don't fucking get it. Okay, fine. But I don't like anything I'm seeing here. Mm-hmm. Nothing about the story makes you think, oh, how dreamy. This is such a cute story. No, my generation, especially in the evangelical church, grew up doing this shit, and they all ended up terrible. Everybody ends up having a lot of fucking issues. I don't like the setup for this relationship anyway.
Also, movies, media, all these things can make us think that this relationship might feel better after you kind of surmount all of these obstacles that are happening right now. That doesn't really happen on the other side of that.
No.
Reconciliation
just not a thing.
Always feels good, but I don't know. I think that you guys have a lot bigger things going on.
There would have to be
this one
so much that he chose to like do or change. Like I'm seeing a therapist. I'm actively doing like there'd be so much that would have to show over long term. To like, I don't know, make this relationship.
And also,
some growing up.
Sure.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point. Most campuses have some kind of accessible mental health program for the students.
Yes.
Sometimes it's hosted by a graduate school where they're training therapy students. Sometimes they have a wellness clinic on campus and every student gets X number of sessions. Sometimes they have a community partners list that helps out the students. Strong recommend their college gal is, at least for yourself, making sure that you have somebody who's going to help you co-navigate this, because we only get so much information from this little letter. I would love for you to have a therapist in your life who's like in the weeds, understands the nuance, and is also helping you sit down and process what you're feeling about this, and can be very respectful of all of your wishes, even if those change Monday to Tuesday. One day you're like, I got to get out ASAP. The next day you're like, I love him. I don't want to leave him. The holidays are coming. I want a therapist on the ground to like help you navigate that. So my number one recommendation is, at a minimum, please sit down and talk to a counselor. It sounds like you've got to make all these important fucking life decisions. Just got proposed to and shit. Like I think you should probably be in counseling. So
also, as someone who has been both hit in the nuts and kneed in the asshole,
which
they don't
worse?
feel the same.
I was assuming that, but who am I to assume?
They are not the same thing at all. They're like, so which whatever you felt when you got a knee to the asshole, the balls feel worse.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
significantly.
So he should have said that hurt, not as bad.
Right. Yeah. So he's not even accurate. In his pronouncements after he like throws a knee to your asshole.
That's right. Yeah.
I just can't fathom. I cannot fathom.
Also, it's just a weird reaction.
Yeah,
it's just a weird response, and also like the delayed response.
I was like, that he plotted it. I'm like, what the?
It's very little kiddish. It's immature. It's bullshit.
It's one of those things that you do. Oh, I could just imagine doing this as like, I can't imagine doing this as an 18-year-old, but I can imagine doing this as a child.
Yeah.
When you like
that's
come
true.
back to somebody later, and you're like, that's what it feels like. Like in your head, that's gonna go so differently than it went.
Yes.
Well, it's how you treat a sibling, right? Like your sibling hits you, and then you're just putting that grudge in the back of your mind, and you're waiting for your opportunity, and you punch in the back of the head. And you're like, fuck you for earlier, and they're like, Jesus.
I'm gonna save this shit for later.
Yeah. Anyway,
all of that's weird, Ryder.
Yeah. Good luck with this one. Definitely let us know how this turns out. Give us updates.
Please
Go
do.
talk to a counselor and put your safety first. I don't think you're telling us I'm in life-threatening danger, but I think Whitney's also helping you understand. You know what? When you start seeing red flags, believe them. And just go ahead and get some space.
Whoever you have or anybody you talk to that you need to help, all you need to do is say, I don't feel safe and I need help.
That's it.
And whether it's the church or it's the
university housing,
university
campus
housing,
police,
whoever it
your
is,
friends, your parent,
I
adult.
guarantee when you say that, they will be like, okay, what do you need?
Yep.
They're
professionals. They know what to do.
At least we hope so.
Yeah,
we really hope that they're professionals. I talked to my nieces, and like one of my nieces in college. I talked to her, and she's like, "Oh yeah, this happened on campus, and this was the school's reaction to it," and that's also just maddening.
It is sometimes. And I kind of wonder too, like if it's just my experience as an administrator in healthcare, that when somebody says something, my immediate thought is, okay, I have this information now.
Yep. Yeah.
And I never want to be put in a position where something worse happens, and they're like,
"Why didn't you do
You
it?
had this information, and you did nothing."
Yeah, I have the ball. Yep, that's exactly.
I feel like campuses are like businesses, though, where they're like, oh, their first thought might be, how do I protect the university?
No, I think campuses are like businesses where they're like, their first thought is, how do I do as little work to deal with this new issue as I possibly can?
And
but
hope
they
it goes
would
away.
like to stay out of the news.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
Just letting them know, hey, I don't feel safe.
Just a little nudge.
Yeah, but anyway, right.
And if the campus cops won't show up, call the real cops. Like just do what you need to do.
Yep.
I didn't realize Pod Therapy was crushing it in the 19-year-old demographic. I think we're sweeping the nation's colleges. We should put together a college tour. I think we.
She is a hot, supple 19-year-old.
It's going to be great.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we are talking about ADHD, autism, and toddler aggression. You're listening to Pod Therapy.
Today's episode is brought to you by Smitty Scoop, Mason Miller, Tess Miller, Byler T, Paris, Team Monaco, Oscar Swanrose, Hannah Marie, Emma Kane, Myra, and Sam Cohn. And if you would like to sponsor the show, become a therapy producer. Patreon.com/therapy. All right, trivia this week. A little bit different. This is followers trivia, Instagram followers. And I will be honest, I did not come up with this idea myself. I got this from another podcast I listened to, Hamish and Andy. And they're very litigious. So I just want to make sure.
Do not sue.
Yes, do not sue.
Credit given.
Who has more Instagram followers?
Oh, God. I have no idea.
And so there's going to be 5 this round, 5 next round. You each get to guess on all.
Oh, okay.
So keep track of your own
score. So it's a 50-50
shot.
shot.
Yep, 50-50 shot.
Fine.
Keep track of your own score. First one is up.
Wait, we're buzzing in?
No, it just everybody just gets one.
Everybody
gets
gets
50-50 shot.
Oh, okay.
Here we go. First one is, who has more Instagram followers, Debbie Gibson or Gibson Guitars?
Who's Debbie Gibson?
I don't know who that is.
You fucking...
Is she an actress?
You little
or
kids.
A singer?
You children.
Sounds familiar.
We're in our 30s, bro.
Debbie means she's 60.
Old man shit.
Okay,
Debbie means she's
80s
60.
singer. Okay, the mall singers. It was a fight between Debbie Gibson and Tiffany. You guys don't remember
I've heard
any
of
of this?
Tiffany.
No.
Jacob knows what I'm talking about.
I do.
Okay.
What the fuck is
Sing me a song she sings.
Yeah, do it.
No one
Yes,
can do
Nick.
that.
Sing
No
a
one
song
can
that
do
she
that.
sings.
All right, I'm going with Gibson Guitars because I don't even know who this old bitch is.
I'm going with Debbie because now I feel like this is a trick question.
Oh, I think it's Debbie Gibson.
I think it's Debbie Gibson.
Yeah, I'll go Debbie Gibson.
Dang.
Debbie Gibson, 484,000.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Gibson Guitars, 2.9
think Jim
million.
just won.
Oh, yeah!
All
Fuck
right,
you, Debbie
all right.
Gibson.
Okay. Next one. Ford Motor Company or Francis Ford Coppola?
Ooh, jeez. Ford Motor Company, I think, is going to be paying for a lot of fucking likes and
I feel like
subs.
Ford Motor
I'm
Company.
going to go Ford.
I'll say Ford as well.
Ford, 6.7 million.
Yeah.
Francis Ford Coppola, 521,000.
Yay!
So you got that one right.
Like no one's
Mr.
following.
Coppola didn't seem like he was going to be too active on
He
the old
didn't really
Insta.
care.
Yeah.
Putting a lot of content out there. Are you Francis Ford
Yeah.
Coppola on your
I did have to
Instagram?
Google real quick to make sure he was still alive. All right, next one. Army Hammer or the U.S. Army?
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, he had a bunch of shit come back
he
on
had
him
all that
too.
shit.
But people don't unfollow
And there was
that often.
that movie. There's a documentary called The House of Hammer or something like that.
Yeah.
So I feel like he would have a lot because of all the
I
controversy.
know. I'm gonna pick Army Hammer. Oh.
Boy.
I'm U.S. Army.
I think I'm going to stick to institutions because so far that's been
Yeah,
it. I'll
that's
stick
true.
to Army.
Okay. Army Hammer, 1 million.
Oh.
U.S. Army, 2.8 million.
Yeah, institutions. I'm doing really good.
Zachary Levy.
Who's that?
Isn't he a director?
No, he's an actor. He was the Shazam.
Eugene Levy?
Shazam!
Oh, Shazam.
He played Shazam.
Oh, okay.
Or Levi Strauss.
The brand, the
Yes.
jeans. I'm going
Jeans.
Levi Strauss again.
Levi.
I'm sticking to the
Because I never
brands.
heard of the first guy. So.
Yeah, Levi Strauss.
And Levi's a worldwide, like everyone wears Levi
Yes.
brand.
Zachary Levy, 1.4 million.
Okay.
Levi
More than I
Strauss,
expected.
62.7 thousand.
Oh, Levi Strauss. No
Yeah.
social media
Fire the
department.
fucking social
Yeah,
media
that's
manager.
loss.
Jesus.
Whenever I go overseas, everyone wears Levi brand.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Oh, is it
Levi
common?
cap, shirts. They wear it
Oh,
all the time.
okay.
That's maybe they don't
last
need
one
the
for this
social
round.
media.
I guess not.
John Stamos
Ooh.
or Johnson & Johnson.
Oh, no.
John Stamos.
Yeah, I
Okay.
want John Stamos.
He's a hottie.
Yeah, god damn it, man.
I mean, Johnson
Unnaturally
& Johnson were
attractive.
both very hot.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Prove
I feel
it.
like John
Or penis
Stamos
and
knows
penis,
how to
as I
work
call
the
them.
gram, though. I feel like he has done a very good job of
Yeah,
staying
the law
relevant.
offices of penis and penis.
Are you going for John Stamos, Jacob?
I don't know.
I was just watching you last night, and
I'll go John Stamos.
In your
He's
sleep.
in that.
You were watching
John-
me?
Yeah.
That's weird.
That's what I heard.
Was it the toes?
Well, obviously. This was the first thing I was looking at.
Jimmies.
My little phone flashlight in your room. Hey, Nick.
What'd you go with, Jacob?
I went John Stamos.
All right, we're 3 for Stamos.
John Stamos, $4.3 million.
Fuck yeah.
Johnson & Johnson, $106,000.
Fuck you, Johnson & Johnson.
Good job.
So I only missed one on that.
I missed 2.
I get
I
4
got 2.
points. I like it. I'm in the lead. ADHD, autism, and toddler aggression. Hey, Nick, Jim, Whitney, and Dr. Smith.
Wow.
I have a couple of semi-related questions that I wanted to throw your way. These are kind of long, so feel free to separate them if it makes more sense. I'm an adult that was recently diagnosed with ADHD. It's one of those things I always felt like I probably had, but never cared to seek out a proper diagnosis. Going through the process of learning about ADHD and even trying out some medication, I was also diagnosed with a few other disorders, including depression, probably major depressive, I don't even know, social anxiety, and OCD. I was originally afraid these diagnoses would make me feel labeled or stuck in a box, but it has actually been extremely validating. Especially since I've felt like I've had OCD all my life, but was afraid to bring it up. I've even started some medicine that has had some serious positive effects. I recently joined an ADHD support group that my therapist started and recommended to me. At our last session, we talked a bit about comorbidity and how other disorders are commonly found in those with ADHD, specifically anxiety and OCD. In the past, I've also heard ADHD referred to as similar or adjacent to autism. This is one reason I never sought out any diagnoses, because how am I supposed to trust that we got the, quote, right one? I was under the impression I was likely on the autism spectrum, but could it just be ADHD and OCD? Could it be all three? I was hoping you guys could give some details around this comorbidity stuff. How this comorbidity stuff works, specifically around autism. I'm not sure if you've ever gone into a deep dive into autism, at least recently, so I wanted to give you guys a chance to hear. My other question revolves around my 3, almost 4-year-old son. He has always had a weird obsession with the bad guy of a show or movie he's interested in. When we play, he usually wants to be Rhino or Bowser when I'm Spider-Man or Mario, and he always ends up winning. At first, I don't think much of this, but recently it started to get more aggressive. It's not uncommon now for him to just straight up punch me or his mom in the face. Sometimes multiple times. He'll kick and scratch and show no more remorse. Sometimes it doesn't even seem like he's upset about anything. He just wants to hit us. It's driven us all to tears. It has also gotten worse since his mom and I separated, which I've suspected may be causing some tough emotions for him. I try to talk to him about it, and sometimes he'll apologize and tell me that he was angry or frustrated and now feels embarrassed. But sometimes he does not care and just tells me that he likes it. I've learned recently with my recent ADHD diagnosis that emotional dysregulation is a symptom of ADHD, and I'm fairly certain his mom and I both have it. Is it too early to look at this aggression from that perspective? Is this normal for a 3 or 4-year-old boy? I don't want to pathologize any normal childhood behaviors, but I also don't want him to think it's okay to hit anybody. I'm terrified he's going to hurt a kid he's playing with, even though this has never been an issue so far. He's usually very sweet with other kids. Do you guys have any tips on how to handle this aggression or how to stop it? Any healthy ways for a toddler to work out his negative emotions? Talking to them doesn't seem to help yet. Also, any thoughts on taking him to some sort of behavioral specialist? Any specific methods or credentials that I should look for? Do you think his mom and I splitting up may be causing him more turmoil than he will admit? Thanks for making it through my rant of a letter, and thanks for the advice. Also, Jim, I loved the ADHD deep dive. I found it extremely informative and would love more. Maybe one on ASD or OCD. Sincerely, Ray J. Shark.
Of course, he's only 30 minutes into it.
That's true. Yeah.
This is two tough ones. So I guess, do you just want to start with the first question?
So yeah, as I'm kind of looking at this macro, I'm hearing a couple different questions. I'm hearing Ray J say, what is the situation with comorbidity between ADHD, autism, and OCD? Kind of getting into the weeds of how often do these things overlap, and do we see this a lot? Because Ray J's saying, look, I'm definitely ADHD, and I also have OCD, and then when you pair those things together, sometimes that looks like autism, and so like you blend, these yellow and red, and you kind of get green, and it's like, oh shit, did I get that right, or is it yellow and blue?
That makes orange.
I think yellow and red is orange. Mm-hmm. Yeah, whatever. Fuck you. Wait. So yeah,
primary colors.
I don't know how this shit works. But yeah, so like I can see that being the first question. I think the second question is, hey, my kid's going through this. We're going through separation. I'm seeing this like violent stuff. Feedback on that. Is it adjacent? What do we think about that?
Yeah. I guess the blend, I always wonder this, how clients perceive like the neurodivergent spectrum of like autism, right. ADHD, because I do feel like socially we have put them all together, sure. like in a bubble, like ADHD and autism. But to me, they're like, I don't know a good comparison. They're very different, but in the same family or whatever. Like, so I don't know. It sounds like you're trying to sort out what are the differences? How do I know what's what? And
in fairness to everyone, the differences would be what?
Like if I didn't know.
Right. Talk to me like I didn't know and don't have a PhD.
Like you don't have a PhD.
Right.
Just for pretensies, right?
Which he might not in January. I could win this thing.
But right now,
anybody could really win this thing, so we don't know.
Well, because autism is...
like what's your perspective? Just from
autism is a physical, like it's a genetic thing, mm-hmm, whatever the word would be. Mm-hmm. And ADHD is not, as far as we know. So, as far as I know, as far as whatever.
I'll jump in a little bit on this because, so first off,
tell us where the line is.
It's a very blurry one.
Mm-hmm.
And so, ADHD and autism are in a different kind of group when we think about mental illness in general. Because a lot of these other things like anxiety and depression, stuff like that, they're like kind of temporary, right? And they blow through your reality, and then they may go away. With these, we consider them neurological. Okay, so we think of them more as like the hardware of the brain, probably producing these symptoms.
Both of them,
yeah. They're actually in the same chapter of the DSM-5.
And they're really diagnosed through like behavioral things.
Okay.
Is what we
we tend to observe it in behavior. And there's some studies that kind of look at MRI data and say that they can kind of start to squint at it and see a difference. But really, we're looking at behaviors. And what's really interesting is that like 50 to 70% of people that are diagnosed with ADHD would also meet criteria for autism spectrum disorder.
But
I could see that.
I thought autism spectrum disorder required a... I don't know what it is, so I'm going to say it wrong. But I thought it was a what do you mean, like a chromosomal?
That's Down syndrome.
Down syndrome is chromosomal. Yeah, not chromosomal. That's not it. What's the word I'm thinking of?
Genetic, I guess. Probably.
Probably genetic,
but it is in a sense. So they're both developmental.
I guess I thought it was something that could be physically detected through like an MRI or something like that. If you kind of were looking for something.
Sure. So we're still at there's a lot of research going in that direction.
Okay.
So you're looking in the right direction.
Okay.
We don't have it yet.
Gotcha. Okay.
But where we're at is, as Whitney said, we still diagnose both ADHD and ASD through behavioral stuff. So what are we seeing in the behavior and the thinking styles of this person? And usually it's reactionary. It's aversions to certain things. Gotcha. It's social skills. It's social blindness in some situations. It's fixation in some situations. With ADHD, it's that running on a motor, inability to focus and concentrate. But both of them share a lot of impairment of executive function.
Yeah.
And so that's ability to sort of like focus, good judgment, wise moderation
falls in there.
And emotional regulation is also a big part of both of them. So we're talking like 50 to 70% in a lot of cases that we would say they're comorbid, that if we see one, we kind of expect to see the other. But it's also kind of difficult because as we talk about in the deep dive on ADHD, 50% of all childhood diagnoses of ADHD will eventually continue to develop to the point where later in their lives, we will no longer see that this behavior matches criteria for ADHD. So you would be justified in saying 50% of individuals diagnosed with ADHD as a child quote unquote grow out of it because their brain's not done developing, right? And this is true of people with ASD as well, is that in their youth they may be diagnosed with ASD and they may never quote unquote grow out of it, but their brain continues to develop, their functioning continues to broaden, their adaptations. Sure. And so that's why we also call it ASD, autism spectrum disorder, right? Because we used to have buckets for it. And so we had like Asperger's, like high functioning autism and stuff like that. So we finally came up with like this sliding scale to say, look, if you're in this criteria box, we're comfortable describing your neurodivergence as what we call autism, but like there's all sorts of levels of severity. There's very, far end stuff where a person may not be able to self-manage and they'll never live independently. Yeah. And then there's further on the lighter side where, they perhaps have what you might call in the general social public some quirks, right? Yeah. But they're fine. They're doing life. And some of that's actually an advantage for them because some of their unique neurodivergent ways allow them to hyperfixate and do some things that are really interesting for them that other people perhaps don't have that staying power for, that analysis ability. So, Ryder, I guess coming like full circle on this, yes, there is a very big link between these two realities. It is also really common to see OCD show up alongside either ASD or ADHD or both. It's also really common to see anxiety. So like all of these components show up a lot. And so it's not weird that you're sensing these comorbidities. The solution to this ultimately becomes, and this is something I think you were kind of talking about in your letter, Ray J, where like, yeah, the diagnosis is useful only in so much as it points you towards solutions. And this is something I kind of get on a soapbox about in the deep dive, is that when I recorded the deep dive, it was a very popular thing to identify who you are based on ADHD or ASD or quote unquote neurodivergence. And I felt like we were deviating from the purpose of diagnostics. And like, we don't have to diseaseify everything. ADHD and ASD can just be a normal variation in Homo sapiens in the way that brains are designed. That doesn't have to be a disease. But knowing it, calling it a name should really be for the purpose of saying, okay, now what? What do I do about this?
Right.
What kinds of changes does society need to make around me? What kind of changes do I need to make to better match society? The goal is function. And that's really all we want to see improve. Same thing with OCD and anxiety. You're still going to have anxiety. You're still going to have obsessive, intrusive thoughts. What we want with OCD is to discontinue the compulsive reactions, the behaviors. We want to detach the thought from the thing you do about the thought. And so all of this kind of full circling is really about personal management. But I mean, I'm curious from what other folks have seen in the room. Like, the data says we see a lot of comorbidity. The data says that it's not uncommon. If somebody says, "Yeah, I have a lot of times you will see that they have maybe a B or a C." Do we notice that in the clinic? Do we notice that out in the field?
Oh my gosh, yeah, I do.
You see it, yeah.
It's kind of funny. I actually love this question because it does really kind of force us to dig into that and try and sort through it. And I think you're right, Jim. This is something that modern research is trying to kind of still actively sort through and see. And I think of multiple people in my life who might overlap where like a friend of mine, I've talked to them about this personally, but I'll be like, I'm pretty sure you're high functioning on the spectrum because she went through like her daughter getting diagnosed, and then it's like, I was like, did you look at any of these? She's like, oh, I thought about it. I was like, okay. And then also a lot of OCD tendencies, in there, and we'll talk about that. Then we also talk about how trauma comes into play with some of those symptoms. So it's a lot. And I definitely go to thinking about my brother growing up. Born in the 90s, he definitely had ADHD diagnosis, but this was back when a lot of his behaviors, being like 2 years old, 3 years old, getting kicked out of preschools because he wasn't able to socially do well in those environments. He also had to take the short bus, I'm saying in quotes, that's what it would, go to special types of education because they did not know what to do with him in regular schooling. And then on top of that, what I realized as we got older was he is a toe walker.
Oh yeah.
And that's one of kind of the bigger symptoms, at least early on, to kind of point out autism spectrum disorder.
Sure.
And so I did talk to my parents about this not that long ago. I was like, what do you think about that? Is there any chance? Because, they were adults when he was a child. And looking back at some of these symptoms, do you think he had some, what's the word? Sensitivities to materials and stuff. Sensory stuff. There we go.
Sensory, yeah.
And I'm thinking if you were forced to wear the socks you hated every day, you'd probably react to everyone around you too, and be an asshole to them at 10 years old or whatever. But even in his 30s, he still is a toe walker. It's so interesting. So I say all that to say, thinking about just my personal life, thinking about clients I've worked with, seeing some of these overlaps, it does make the area very blurry. You're like, well, what's I think the ADHD was just showing its face the most.
Right.
And maybe there could have been some deeper going on that if, looking back, he could have been helped a different way.
Right.
Maybe things would have gone a little easier for him in elementary, middle school.
I agree.
High school.
But everything to me comes down to the purpose of a diagnosis needs to be to improve the functioning of the individual.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, when you and I were growing up,
there was not resources. My
resources.
parents put him into therapy, neuro stuff, but they just didn't know.
Well, they didn't know. And there was actually a lot of interesting politics about how diagnostics changed with the DSM-3. And so it opened up, the criteria got really simplified for ADHD, and it was handed off to nurses in pediatrics. And so that's whenever all the ADHD diagnoses were pouring out, because that was how you just described every kid that can't sit still.
Yeah.
And then it was, we obviously saw the advent of a lot of stimulants and stuff like that, and
he was on Ritalin.
And sure,
there's a lot of in the environments too. Environments became more stimulating.
Right.
Growing up as a kid and you're watching cartoons, bright colors, flashing lights,
used to be
Bob
Ross,
going on.
Mr. Rogers.
Yeah.
And
then you go
Sesame Street.
to Teletubbies and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then you have to go sit in a
Yo
room.
Gabba Gabba. Yeah.
I've got bad news for you if you think the 90s were more colorful than the 70s.
Yeah.
Well, television, I think,
Yeah.
being more.
So speaking about the kid situation, a couple of pieces of feedback on this. So your son is 3 or 4 years old. He identifies more with the bad guy. He is kind of experimenting with this violence, and there's sort of a lack of remorse about it, but then he can sort of be talked to about it. He's not hurting other kids, so we're not seeing broad antisocial behavior. He's too young for some hard diagnoses based on any of this. I don't want to, pathologize this kid. In my experience, I have tons of nephews. I've raised a son. I've seen a lot of young kids. I've taught in school. I taught kindergarten. So I've definitely seen this kind of behavior before. There's two pieces to this. One, I don't want to pathologize it. I'm not concerned, but it must stop. And so on that side, it becomes a firm and consistent parenting strategy where when we're goofing off with our kid, we are starting to say hard no's to certain behavior, and we're not letting him punch 3 times soft and then he finally throws a hard right hook at your chin and now you're like, that was too hard. You can't trust a 3 or 4 year old to moderate a certain kind of behavior. It becomes binary. They don't know oh, you're allowed to poke me with this butter knife a little bit, but then the last time you poke too hard. Adults can do that moderating behavior of oh, I can punch you in the shoulder because we're buddies, but then there's a difference between how much pressure I show and that lack of moderation communicates a different message. Children don't do that. He's 3 or 4. It's fucking binary. So it's just we either hit or we don't hit. And so if you're allowing your kid to play fight with you and he's allowed to hit, but then he takes it too far, this is where I think that you and your co-parent need to say, okay, we need to adjust our parenting, with this kid. If we're going to play fight, it's, we make sound effects with the swords. They don't actually clink. We don't actually hit each other. We make sound effects. We pretend, we do not actually cross that line. And because he can't moderate that behavior, when he does it and he goes too far, he's not going, you're going to be genuinely hurt and be startled by your kid. And you're thinking, oh my God, am I raising a fucking psychopath? And it's no, he's 3 or 4. They're little cavemen.
Yeah.
At that age, they are just fucking
might be
cavemen.
raising a psychopath.
He could be a psychopath.
We don't know that yet.
But this isn't what that's
Honestly,
it's not time
find
yet.
me a 3 or 4 year old that isn't a psychopath.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Also, the bad guys, and this is real, the bad guys on these shows are the interesting characters.
Fuck yes,
I
they are.
want to come back to
They are
this.
the
Yeah.
characters that change. The hero never changes. Mario doesn't change. He's trying to get coins for some reason.
Bowser fucking rules.
Right. Bowser is doing shit.
Yes.
I want to go
That part I'm not very concerned with.
I just don't
either.
care about that.
I think it's interesting. It's very interesting, but I also think that too that's very appealing to kids that have a feeling of a lack of power in their environment because they see the power that the bad guy has.
Sure.
Ooh.
Right?
I like this take. This is interesting.
And so
Okay.
to be able to see Darth Vader and just oh my God, he's got power. Everyone's afraid of him. I feel very vulnerable. I feel like I have no power over anything. Wouldn't it be nice for people to be a little worried about me? Or
I should get a cape.
I need a helmet.
We should
and
all
a voice
get me a
mod.
cape. But yeah, I think that's part of it too, to be able to see to see a character and see a trait that they have and be able to admire that trait.
Yeah.
No,
I like the idea
that.
too that they're ominous, they matter. I mean, as far as like your separation affecting the kid, I think it does.
Yes.
But I think it's also really difficult to get a 3 to 4 to 5-year-old to verbalize. They're not very aware of their cognitions at that age. They're not very aware of their emotions. And so when you ask them things like, are you sad that mommy and daddy don't live together? They're in the back seat of your car. You're driving home from McDonald's and they're like, no, I'm fine. You know, because they're just like eating a fucking nugget. Like they don't care. They're watching Bluey. You know, so like it's hard to really get a gauge on this stuff. I wouldn't really bring your attention so much to like cognitively and deeper emotional stuff of like, how's my kid feeling right now? I'd really keep your focus on what we call behaviorism, which is just what are we doing in our interactions with others? What is a good behavior? What is a bad behavior? And just observing the child for maladaptation. That's usually what we see with kiddos. So whenever their environment changes and it disrupts them emotionally, they're not often able to verbalize it. And a lot of times therapy with them, talk therapy, isn't necessarily that useful. At that age, a lot of specialists, because you asked about specialist referrals, they like to use play therapy.
Yeah.
And play therapy is a really interesting modality because it is the form of communication that children use. And even the fact that he likes to play as the bad guy and likes to, you know, use some violence in his play, a play therapist is going to take all that information and know what to do with it and know how to interpret what this signals about the kid and how to signal back to that and how to like work with that to reveal things and to like slowly start to nuance their behavior. So I don't necessarily want you to run your kid off to a therapist right away. I don't want to overreact. I feel like what I'm hearing about seems pretty typical. I think it just requires a cohesive parenting response when possible. If he was doing this at school to other kids, and I was seeing this spill out of just the playtime with parents, now I'm starting to get nervous. If I'm seeing the kid be reckless, breaking property around the house, doing other kinds of like acting out things, now I'm going, okay, this is getting to a place where he doesn't know how to verbalize what he's feeling, but they're big feelings. And that's where I'd probably want a play therapist to get tagged in.
Yeah. I say this to all the parents I talk to working with teens especially, but toddlers and teenagers are like the same.
Yeah, pretty much. And 39-year-old men. I feel like we're not that far off.
But what I tell them is, especially when I hear the kid is sweet to other kids at school, there aren't really behavior problems outside of the home. I try to remind parents that means their home is their safe space, and it doesn't mean their behavior is okay. I 100% agree with what you were saying, Jim. Like there needs to be behavioral modification in the home. But I do think just when you are worried about, oh, is my kid, you know, a psychopath or something deeply disturbing, it's like, it sounds like that's maybe his outlet is playtime with you, and he thinks he can like get out a good angry hit.
Right.
I think about my niece when she was really young, probably around this age. It was so interesting because she really could not verbalize her emotions very well, but you could see she was emotional, like through facial expressions or, you know, maybe like staring intently when something was going on and not really reacting. And then she'd just like walk away from the situation and like shove her brother on the way out.
Right.
You're like,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Just like a little like poke or like a, you know,
Fuck this kid.
I need to get this out somehow, and I don't know how. And she's not a psychopath. She's an amazing kid at like 11 now, but at the time you're like, oh, is this okay? And you're just like, oh no, she's just struggling to like express herself.
Yeah.
So as a parent, absolutely stopping the really aggressive behavior. I would just, one of my favorite terms that I've watched, you know, my family members use with their kids is, I'm not going to let you hit me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not you're a bad kid for hitting me. Like, don't hit. It's, I'm your parent. I'm going to help you right now. I'm not going to allow you to hit me.
Yeah. And also like creating that norm where we don't hit.
We don't
like
hit.
A 3 or 4 year old brain isn't getting into the nuances of when it's cool, when it's not cool. So when I'm pretending, when I'm the bad guy, getting the kid maybe into karate or something.
I was going to ask your thoughts on this because
like
my brain went there
outlet
too.
Where it's like, hey, I get it. You got all that little boy energy.
Yeah.
You want to fucking like tear into something. You want to do the cool
There's
karate
a time
kicks.
to do
and
it.
You like the shredder and the, you know, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like you want to do that cool shit. Like great, get in there and go break the little boards and do your hi-yas and go punch the thingy and like get out that little boy aggression. Great.
The last little story I was going to share was just Peter and I a couple years ago were talking with his family, and they were like only allowed to watch Star Wars growing up pretty much. And he was talking with his brothers, I think, and they were talking about how they always wanted to be, Luke Skywalker or whatever. And Peter was over there like, I always wanted to be like the bad guy. And they're like, really? Like they were so shocked by that.
Yeah.
And it stuck out to me. I was like, oh, that's kind of
Peter's right. The Empire did nothing wrong. The rebels were essentially a terrorist faction.
And he turned out okay for the most part.
He's a nice guy.
No, he's like,
in the car. Yeah. Windows are down. It's fine.
It's parked in the garage. Don't worry, I left it running.
I'm monitoring him.
Right.
No, but he's like emotionally he's a sweetheart. Like, I don't know. I think, I kind of was interested in what Nick was sharing, about the power and control you have as a kid and how you really see yourself in characters that you watch on TV
I
or
think
whatnot.
It also says a lot too. I mean, it could be a sign of emotional maturity to be able to look at a character like Darth Vader and be able to understand that person has emotion as well.
Right. They're
and
not
that
just
person
bad.
has a story.
Yeah.
And like that was always really interesting to me watching Star Wars as a kid, is like really kind of understanding that character and being like, okay, so this was Luke's dad. This was once a good guy. Mm-hmm. This was, and there's a whole
lot of things.
Story behind that, and to be able to see that in a character that otherwise would just be like, okay, this is the bad guy. That's all you need to know about him. He's bad.
Mm-hmm. He's bad. He does bad things. And then you just get frustrated at Luke Skywalker.
It's kind of like what Jacob said. It's the most interesting character in the story. That's why the fucking prequels exist. Is like, what is the backstory of Darth Vader? How did that guy become Darth Vader? Like, it's way fucking more interesting.
Yeah.
The White Knight good guy is such a limited range. Actors want to be the bad guy. It's more interesting. So I think your son just has a flair for the dramatic. It's a more interesting character. You're allowed to sort of do more with that, but I don't want to pathologize your kid. I think he's just being a kid. I have, like I said, a bunch of nephews. I just spent the weekend with one, and he's 2, and it's just so funny because as soon as we give this kid, like I gave him a lightsaber. And as
a real
soon
one?
as exactly. I forged a lightsaber. And when I give this kid a lightsaber, he's like, oh, cool. He immediately turns around and hits his 1-year-old brother right in the fucking face.
Wow. Yeah.
And I'm looking at his mom in horror. I'm like, I am so sorry.
To be fair, that kid was fucking asking for it.
And he's just immediately a terrorist. He just starts running through the house, just fucking
see what that 1-year-old was
shanking everybody. Just you see the way he's looking at me, and I'm just like tackling this kid, like
Boys are
trying to get the
wild.
sword out of his hand, and he's like, "No, I'm a fucking Jedi."
Yeah.
I'm like, Jesus Christ.
That
So
is
yeah,
Jim's
they're all
fault.
like this, dude.
That's hilarious.
That is just little boys. They are cavemen. But anyway, this is a great question, Ryder, and I'm really glad that you were able to experience your own healthcare journey, going through your own work, doing this work on OCD, doing this work on anxiety, finding a medication that's working for you, and a lot of things coming into context, which is great. And keep an eye on your son, because like if you have these heritable traits, it's very possible that your son may be neurodivergent a little bit or resonate with some of these things. And you want to get good at guiding yourself through this and learning about what tools and maneuvers work well for you so that you can also assist him. And the goal is, again, we're not going to cure these things. It may not even be something that needs to be cured. We need to get away from looking at these as illnesses. As a former writer wrote in about being somebody who has ASD and feeling like the current federal administration is pathologizing this and making it sound bad. We don't want it to be that way. We just want it to be a trait and something that we could work with. So learning how to adapt that for yourself so that you can be a good coach to your son, I think is a great idea anyway. But we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're wrapping up the show. You are listening to Pod Therapy.
Today's episode is brought to you by Smitty Scoop, Mason Miller, Tess Miller, Byler T, Paris, Team Monaco, Oscar Swanros, Anna Marie, Emma Kane, Myra, and Sam Cohn. If you would like to sponsor the show, become a therapy producer, patreon.com/therapy.
So I've got 4 points. And these assholes
Jacob's
have
got
nothing.
3.
I think I have 3, yeah.
I got
Whitney's
2.
got 2.
Feels right.
Okay, here we go.
These are worth 80 points each.
I think so.
Dunkin' Donuts
Oh.
or Duncan Robinson, the small forward for the Detroit Pistons.
Dunkin'
I'm gonna
Donuts,
stick to
1,000%.
institutions.
Dunkin' Donuts.
Give me Dunkin' Donuts.
They had the
For a
whole
fucking
Super Bowl
million.
commercial.
They've got
America
Yeah.
runs on Dunkin',
I am
goddammit.
sure that Duncan has a good PR team.
Oh, yeah, they're very good.
And I've
at
never
it.
heard of the other guy.
Duncan, 2.8 million.
Nice.
Duncan Robinson, 270,000.
Fuck you, Duncan Robinson.
I'm surprised there's such a discrepancy
Dun.
between these options.
These are very
I thought you were gonna
broad.
trick us.
Naomi Campbell
Oh.
Speaking of broads.
or Campbell's Soup.
This is
Naomi.
going to be tough. This
going
one I
Naomi.
may get away from the institution. But I feel like when it comes to likes and followers, these institutions pay good fucking money to get like as much of that shit in there as they can. So I don't know how authentic it is.
And
but
yet your
the
answer
number's
is-
big. I'm going to stick to soup. Give me soup.
Jacob, did you pick one?
Give me soup or give me death.
I'll go Campbell. I'll go Naomi Campbell.
I was like, they're both.
Okay, Naomi Campbell, 15.7 million.
Oh, I'm fucked. Oh, there's no way.
Campbell's soup, 60.5 thousand.
Damn it,
Naomi
Campbell's. You
Campbell.
fucked me good.
All right,
She's
here we
a
go.
hot lady.
The writer, John Green, or the Green Bay Packers.
Oh, geez. I'm going to go John Green.
I'll go Green Bay Packers.
I'm going Packers.
John Green, 2.3 million.
Ooh. For me, John.
Green Bay Packers, 2.9 million.
Damn it!
Hell yeah! there we go.
I
That's
believe I just
Damn
took
it,
the lead.
John Green.
shit. That's all right. That was
Shit.
80 points. So,
Tracy Morgan
oh,
or Morgan Stanley.
Oh, boy. Oh,
oh
boy.
shit.
Who's following Morgan Stanley on Instagram?
Give
What
me
a
Tracy
fucking
Morgan.
nerd. Yeah, I'm going Tracy Morgan, too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I was thinking like Stanley Cup. So I was like, but more
it's a
Tracy
financial
Morgan.
group.
Yeah.
Tracy Morgan, 990
Ooh.
or 939,000.
Ooh.
Morgan Stanley, 359,000.
Yay.
Okay, last one. David Cameron, former
know
Prime
who-
Minister.
Oh,
guy.
David Cameron. Okay.
Yeah,
Great
yeah,
Britain.
yeah. I call him Dave.
David Cameron or Harley Davidson.
Oh, boy. Oh, geez, a world leader or Harley Davidson.
Ooh, this is
Nah,
a hard
I'm going
one.
with David Cameron. There's no way. Harley Davidson is just like old dudes. Like nobody's fucking following them on Instagram. And what the demographic that rides Harleys doesn't use Instagram. So it's David
Kind
Cameron.
of true.
Wow,
It's good logic.
that is good logic.
It maths.
I'm gonna just stack on to Jim's logic and say that
Oh.
if I pick the same answer that Jim picked, then I win the game. So I'm gonna go,
Shit, are you in the
David
lead?
Cameron.
Ah, god damn it.
Well, I was gonna pick David Cameron too, but just to go against the grain, I'm gonna say Harley Davidson for funsies because I'm losing anyway. So.
Go Grande.
Harley Davidson, 5.7 million.
Whoa.
Oh, wow.
David Cameron, 1,657.
Oh my gosh! I did it.
Let's
I won
give
the
the
game.
win to Whitney.
I won the game.
You know what? For the
That's a game
bold
winner.
move on that.
I think
and for the-
Wow.
definitely gets the moral victory of
Yeah.
that.
You guys were
And I get
only-
the actual victory.
You were
Yes.
only off by about 5.7 million.
Honestly, that's how the game should be played, is that you don't get a point for getting it right. You get the discrepancy.
Yeah.
So if you get it right, you get all the discrepancy between.
I get all those followers.
Yeah,
They're
she
mine.
gets 4 million, 4.7, or
Oh
almost
my
all of 5.
gosh!
Oh, yeah.
Wow, that's a lot.
That
for
is-
Harley
I'm
Davidson.
surprised by that.
Yeah.
Well, as we wrap up the show, we want to remind you can sign up at patreon.com/therapy. You can get our extended show ad-free a day earlier, as well as enjoy our live chat Discord community and our spontaneous deep dives, interviews, skill shares, research roundups, and rants. As you listen to this, the following Monday after this episode publishes is a deep dive on conversion therapy currently being discussed at the Supreme Court level. What are the outcomes? What's the history? What do we need to be thinking about? Some big stuff coming out of the court, and it's going to really
Because I'm a bad boy.
There it is. Psychotherapy in any direction that it goes in. But we've got some new people to welcome to the Theraparty. Who has joined us at patreon.com/therapy?
She is a hot, supple 19-year-old.
That's
That's what I've heard.
Get
Elise
some Nick
Hammond.
drops. There are Nick drops.
I don't know.
Elise Hammond joins us as a therapist.
Hey.
Welcome, Elise.
Welcome.
And we got a new theraproducer.
What?
Blip blop.
Blip, blop.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome, blippity bloppity. And we'd like to thank the benevolent, revered, generous, and flagrantly pro-therapy diehards who love you all so much they give till it hurts that they're a partner. Pick it.
Pick it.
And we want to thank our bosses, the mysterious and shrouded Illuminati members of the fan club, the Theraproducers. Thank you, Jake Schneider, Myra, Robert Brownie Jr. Mint, Smitty Scoop, Richard fucking Macy, Judy Schneider, Malia, Leon Kassab, Carolyn Albert, Kevin Chamberlain, Tess Miller, Dan Martin, Sammy Scoop, Slurpy Kai, motherfucker, Ben Stanley slapping your face, Sarah Smith, Adam Hathaway, Byler T, Mike Helm, Oscar Swanrose, Paris, A Sunny Boy, Darren Cunningham, Lib, Sandra McWaffle, Team Monaco, Thunder, Cougar, Falcon Scoop, Heyo, Hannah Marie, Andrew Langmead, Emma Tonka, and Pony Soprano, Alina, Cody the Lorian Guy, Brady Malichik, Chick Fellatio, Gabriel Adame, Sean Sutherland, Max the Ginger Scoop, Chad Mag, Adam Warren, Inca LaPrince, Sam Cohn, Big A, Do Crimes, Ellie O'Dare, and welcoming blip blop.
And if you would like to hear this episode uncut and unedited,
And why wouldn't you?
and enjoy our spontaneous side projects, go to patreon.com/therapy, and thank you for supporting mental health.
That's all the time we've got for this week's session. We would like to thank our landlords, supple 19-year-old, and the Ice Cream Social Podcast. Thanks to those of you who contributed to our show today. We really appreciate it. Remember, pod therapy isn't something you should keep all to yourself. Share the episode with the world. Tag us on the socials when you do. It's at PodTherapyGuys on Instagram, Threads, and Twitter, /PodTherapy on Facebook and Blue Sky. And don't forget about all the extra goodies at patreon.com/therapy.
And if you want to submit a question to the show, you can ask anonymously at podtherapy.net, email us at podtherapyguys@gmail.com, or click the link in the episode description to be taken to our anonymous Google form. I'm Nick Angman.
I'm Whitney.
I'm Jim.
Thanks, and we'll see you for your appointment next week.
I feel, so targeted. I don't feel safe talking about hot, supple teenagers anymore.
Oh, okay.
I feel so bad for you, Jim.
This is a violation of my free speech.
Your father's dick has been in me.
God damn it. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.